everyone, it's Pat from Seattle Coffee Gear, and we are here with yet another one of our top 3 videos. Today we're going to be talking about luxury semi-automatic espresso machines. So as you can see, we got 3 full-sized home espresso machines here. These machines are going to be at the very high end of the price range for home espresso, and then also, of course, at the very high end of the performance range. Each one of them kind of gives you something a little bit different that you might be looking for, so we wanted to feature all 3 of these and go through them and talk a little bit about each one. If you have more detailed questions about these and want to see them make some drinks, make sure you check out the crew reviews for each of these espresso machines and some of the other content we have around them, because today we're just going to do more of an overview. Worth noting that all of these machines have dual boilers for their hot water. So that means capacity-wise, these are similar to commercial machines when put in your home, in that you're probably never going to outrun them, is the term we use. These are going to keep brewing drinks back to back and steaming espresso. Unless you're trying to use them in a commercial setting, you might start to run up against some limits if you're making 10, 15, 20 drinks in an hour. But if you are just using them for home use, you don't have to worry about capacity or general performance at all. These machines are going to deliver incredible shots and do it all day long without any kind of struggle. So worth mentioning that right off the top. As far as the machine specifics, we have the Marzocco Linnea Mini here. The Linnea Mini is, of course, a mini, although I don't know how mini this machine is to me, but a smaller version of one of their commercial machines. The Linnea is, of course, a legendary espresso machine. You've probably seen it in coffee shops before. Very, very popular. And this machine is just like a very solid workhorse. It's relatively simple to use compared to the other machines we're going to talk about, but it's also pretty much impossible to wear it down or to push it too far when it comes to its brewing. You're going to get PID controlled temperatures. That's controlled by a dial on the side of the machine here. That's really easy to operate. You just set it to the number that you want, and that's what it's going to set the brew temps at. Again, it's got that dual boiler for delivering steam with one boiler and your hot water and shots as well. It's got a really easy to use and really appealing paddle system for turning on the pump. So that's really nice. And you have your dials for your other controls. Relatively limited programmability on this one, but it's definitely designed for people who want a little bit more manual control over their shots. And there's really no way to go wrong with a machine like this, as long as you're in for some of the more hobbyist elements of brewing espresso at home, which is true of these other machines as well. The drip tray comes off. It's got a really nice magnetic drip tray. It kind of clicks out like that. And then you've got your water tank in there, and that's how you weight it up. And yeah, it's just definitely one of the most appealing machines to look at and use that you can get for home espresso. And it's certainly like these other 2 machines, could be the last machine that you ever buy, because it'll just last you forever and produce great shots and great steamed milk. Now, onto the other La Marzocco machine that we have here. We have the GS3. This is the automatic one, which just means that you use buttons to operate the pump and to set it up and program it and then pull your shots. It's not necessarily automatic in the same way that a super automatic is, because this one still requires a lot of hands-on work to get it all set up and dialed in, like any other semi-automatic espresso machine. So this one has a little bit more programming than the Linnea Mini. It's got the PID controlled temps that you can control with the keypad here. You can also control shot times with it as well, so you can get your times dialed in. And then you, of course, have your hot water and your steam wands. This one's got a cool touch steam wand, which is kind of cool. No pun intended. You don't have to worry about burning yourself on this one. With the Linnea Mini, you want to make sure you grip the rubber part here, because the wand can get pretty hot. There is a manual version of the GS3 available as well that has a little pump here and a pressure gauge that kind of shows you what's going on. That is priced a little bit differently, and it gives you a little more direct control over the pressure profiling of your shot. So you can kind of manually control with the paddle how much it is, how much pressure is being delivered and the ramp on it and everything. Otherwise, both of these machines have pre-infusion. This one, you get a little bit more control over some of that stuff. Similarly, front the drip tray comes off. You got a front loading water tank, which is really nice, and it's just generally a really nice machine to use. The big difference between this one and the Linnea Mini is going to be that slightly more degree of programmability here, and you get a little bit more feedback for what's going on with the machine with this screen as well. So you're going to be able to see more about what temperature it's sitting at and what you have it set to, and then your programming and what have you. But in terms of performance, both of these machines are going to knock it out of the park. They both also have a heated brew group. This one is a little more similar to like an E61, where it has hot water moving through the brew group that's external. And the Linnea Mini has a saturated brew group that sits up inside this housing and gets heat from the boiler and the water in here. So both of them offer great temperature stability in that department as well. Our last machine, and perhaps the most complex in terms of the stuff it can do, is the Rocket Espresso R91 group. So this one is interesting because where the GS3 and the Linnea Mini pretty closely resemble some commercial options that La Marzocco offers, the Rocket Espresso R91 group has some inspiration from their R9 range of commercial machines, but this is definitely a very unique machine for them, both in terms of appearance and design and just like what it can do from a capability standpoint. So similarly to these two machines, this one's going to have heated brew group, it's going to have the double boiler like we talked about before, and it's going to just do everything really well in terms of its general performance. What sort of sets this machine apart is the screen here is a touch screen that can be controlled in a similar way to the GS3. You can set like timings and you can control the temperature with the PID controller and everything. But the other cool thing that you can do with this machine is set and save pressure profiling recipes that you activate on this pump. So you slide this wand open, and that's going to give you a readout on the screen that tells you what's happening with the pressure from the pump and how it's being delivered to the grounds. You can then use that feedback to kind of control, well, I want to keep it at this pressure for 4 seconds and then ramp it to this pressure. That's called pressure profiling. And machines all kind of have different pressure profiles. The Linnea Mini is going to have a different pressure profile than, say, a Rocket Espresso Apartamento. And with this machine, if you go out there and find those pressure profiles, you can recreate those profiles using this brew group and using the programming here. And then you can save those recipes and recall them later, and the machine will reproduce them. So that's part of why I like this machine so much, is you can do all kinds of really cool recipes. And if you're a really, really interested enthusiast when it comes to espresso, this machine is going to let you explore tons of different parameters for how you want to brew your espresso. You're going to be able to control that temperature. You're going to be able to control the pre-infusion time, which is something you can do on the GS3 as well. And you're going to be able to control the pressure profile, which you can do here, but it takes a little bit more of a little more finesse with the manual version of this machine doing it on the fly. Whereas with the R91 group, you can program it and control it and then recall those pressure profiles and really, really get into figuring out how different parts of the espresso brewing process affect taste. Obviously, that's a lot of complexity, and if you're just looking for really high quality shots, any of these three machines are going to deliver that, and frankly, a lot of the machines that we talk about here all the time, including obviously all of the machines from our previous top 3 semi-automatic video, are going to be able to do that as well. But if you're looking for the last machine that you're ever going to buy, very high price point, and you want some of the unique programming and control features that these machines offer, these are all really cool options, and I know I would certainly be very happy to have any of them on my countertop. So thank you so much for watching. If you have more questions about any of these machines, feel free to drop them below. Make sure if you enjoyed this video that you hit that thumbs up button and that you get subscribed to see all of our best of content and our holiday content as we start rolling that out as well. Thanks.